powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN Statewide News this Thursday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, as COVID-19 has swept across the nation, sporting events and seasons of all sorts have been postponed or canceled. Today, we add another Montana favorite to that list. This morning, Missoula Marathon race director announced the race has officially been called off. Over the past 14 years, the race has gained national popularity. In 2009, it was named the #1 marathon in the country by Runner's World magazine.
The community engagement's a very big part, a huge part of why we've gotten a lot of the awards and recognition that we've gotten over the last several years. The people of Missoula take great pride in being part of the race, in helping to support the race, in encouraging people to come to Missoula and show off our city. And it's a huge disappointment to us because we don't get to share that with everybody.
For currently registered participants, the race cancellation options and details can be found at www.missoulaMarathon.org. And beginning Monday, May 25th, organizers will accept new registrations from runners and walkers who want to take part in the virtual races. Well, if you like running in the rain, today is the day. Meteorologist Ed McIntosh standing by in the Weather Center with all of those details. We hope, right?
Well, we've got a lot to talk because we do. We're going to be talking about rain, snow, and how about wind? If you're going to be running, how about running with the wind at your back? Because we had a lot of strong wind gusts across the region through last night, up to 62 miles an hour recorded in the Billings area, 55 miles an hour at Sheridan, Wyoming. You see a lot of those gusts across the eastern plains. And then we started picking up on snow across the region. Wet conditions in Bozeman Pass. There's McDonald Pass, which was a problem since last night. You can see the travel trailer in there. Every time I take a picture from that area, I get a travel trailer. Monarch Canyon having some snow issues as well. And how about this from the Lewistown Divide? We still have some snow around Judith Gap as well. In fact, it doesn't look like they were enjoying their coffee out there first thing this morning. More on the forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Ed. Well, almost 2 weeks after Governor Steve Bullock lifted the stay-at-home order, state health officials again report no new coronavirus cases across Montana. This is the third day in a row of 0 confirmed cases. Now, this news as the state now focuses on the active cases across Montana. That number reporting at 23 with 6 patients hospitalized. Those 23 active cases are spread between 10 different counties, 5 of them in Yellowstone County. The number of deaths stands at 16. Well, it's a different story in Wyoming where 27 people tested positive yesterday. It's the state's largest single day increase. 56 people currently have COVID-19 in the Cowboy State. Wyoming has now passed Montana in total number of cases since the beginning of the pandemic, but still has the least amount of deaths across the country. Well, as a few small schools across Montana open their doors today, other districts across the state struggle to decide the next step. Butte High, along with all 3 public high schools in Billings, will move forward with in-person graduations, while other large schools in Montana have not released graduation plans. Well, in Billings, the school district and local health experts came together to make it happen, but announced yesterday some strict guidelines, which include a much smaller audience. Each graduate will only be allowed to bring 2 guests. Temperatures will be checked and 6-foot distance must be kept at all times. Guests will be given tickets, and county health leaders have asked that those be saved after the ceremony as a way to ensure contact tracing. Now, everyone, including grads, will be required to wear a mask, but Billings clinic officials are ready to help with that. The hospital will have 3D printed masks for each graduate and their 2 guests in the specific school color. Well, School District 2 officials thank county health leaders for working with them to make sure the ceremonies could move forward. Well, as parents try to plan in the middle of this pandemic, in Great Falls, public schools opened kindergarten registration yesterday, and we hear there were no shortage of sign-ups. At Meadowlark Elementary, Principal Teresa Sprague says while the process was logistically different this year because of social distancing, overall numbers at her school were right on track for the first day. Since registration packets are available online, it was efficient for many parents to fill forms out at home and then drop them off. Sprague says although there is concern among parents about how school will look in the fall, the environment was energizing.
Parents have definitely mentioned that, and just kind of threw out their questions of wondering what it's going to look like in the fall, but mostly it was just enthusiasm and excitement, and still looking forward to everything being as normal as we can be, but knowing that they trust us in that if we need to put some things in place in the fall that will make things a little bit more safe for the kids and for the staff, that will definitely do that. So, but they were still excited.
And if you have a kiddo ready to head to kindergarten, reach out to your local school district to find out when you can get her or him registered. Well, Governor Steve Bullock says $10 million will be set aside to help daycare providers across Montana. This added to the list of those receiving federal aid during the coronavirus pandemic. Half of that money will go to child care center owners to pay staff. Another 30% will start a scholarship program for low-income children so struggling parents can continue to get them care as they return to work. And the remaining 20% will fund temporary child care for people who need it as schools remain closed. Well, in the extremely tight vote in the district's elementary bond proposal in Townsend, the chair of Townsend School Board says he expects there will be a recount. Earlier this week, the initial count showed 1,040 votes for the nearly $19 million bond issue and 1,038 votes against it. The two-vote margin is narrow enough to force a recount if 10 voters file a petition for it. If it passes, the $18.8 million bond would replace the existing elementary school. A petition for a recount must come within 5 days of the official canvass of votes. Well, the Montana Historical Society is working to make sure your stories are preserved during this pandemic. It has 2 surveys aimed at capturing what life was like for Montanans on its website. The Historical Society hopes people share both the positives and the frustrations of living during this pandemic. Officials believe the information collected will be a huge benefit to future historians and Montanans. Now, people are asked to fill out a survey now and then again in a few months to reflect on the changes. Ahead on your noon news today, the topic of Montana's wildfire season is at the forefront. However, up next, we'll look at how the process of fighting those wildfires will be much different. The time now is 12:07, but first, Ed next with your statewide weather forecast.